So, hallo Lorraine, ich hab noch ein bisschen mit dem guten Flo gequatscht. So, das erste, was wir machen, ist mal gucken, wie viel wir so im Kodex hier haben. Ja, ein bisschen was, glaube ich.
The Asari were the first species to discover the
Dann hören wir
Citadel.
uns das erstmal an.
When the Solarians arrived, it was the Asari who proposed the establishment of the Citadel Council to maintain peace throughout the galaxy. Since then, the Asari have served as the mediators and centrists of the Council. An all-female race, the Asari reproduce through a form of parthenogenesis. They can attune their nervous system to that of another individual of any gender and of any species to reproduce. This capability has led to the unseemly and inaccurate rumors about Asari promiscuity. Asari can live for over 1,000 years, passing through 3 stages of life. In the maiden stage, they wander restlessly, seeking new knowledge and experience. When the matron stage begins, they meld with interesting partners to produce their offspring. This ends when they reach the matriarch stage, where they assume the roles of leaders and counselors. The second species to join the Citadel, the Solarians, are warm-blooded amphibians with a hyperactive metabolism. Solarians think fast, talk fast, and move fast. To Solarians, other species seem sluggish and dull-witted. Unfortunately, their metabolic speed leaves them with a relatively short lifespan. Solarians over the age of 40 are a rarity. The Solarians were responsible for advancing the development of the primitive Krogan species to use as soldiers during the Rachni Wars. They were also behind the creation of the genophage bioweapon the Turians used to quell the Krogan rebellions several centuries later. Solarians are known for their observational capability and non-linear thinking. This manifests as an aptitude for research and espionage. They are constantly experimenting and inventing, and it is generally accepted that they always know more than they are letting on.
Ja, ja, die Rassen.
50,000 years ago, the Protheans were
Achso,
the
das hatten wir
only
schon,
spacefaring species in the
oder?
galaxy. They vanished in a swift galactic extinction. Only the legacy of their empire,
Ja.
though now extinct, the Rachni once threatened every species in Citadel space. Over 2,000 years ago, explorers foolishly opened a mass relay to a previously unknown system and encountered something never seen before or since, a species of spacefaring insects guided by a hive mind intelligence. Unfortunately, the Rachni were not peaceful, and the galaxy was plunged into a series of conflicts known as the Rachni Wars. Attempts to negotiate were futile, as it was impossible to make contact with the hive queens that guided the race from beneath the surface of their toxic home world. The emergence of the Krogan ended the Rachni Wars. Bred to survive the harshest environments, the Krogan were able to strike at the queens in their lairs and reclaim conquered council worlds. But when Krogan fleets pressed them back to their homeworld, the Rachni refused to surrender, and the Krogan eradicated them from the galaxy. The Elcor
Oh, ja,
are
ja,
a
ja.
Citadel
Puh.
species native to the high-gravity world Dakuna. They are massive creatures, standing on 4 muscular
Ah, das
legs
hatten wir schon.
for increased stability. The Hanar are a Citadel species known for excessive politeness. They speak with scrupulous precision and take offense at improper language. Hanar that expect to deal with other species take special courses to help them unlearn their tendency to take offense at improper speech. All Hanar have 2 names. The face name is known to the world. The soul name is kept for use among close friends and relations. Hanar never refer to themselves in the first person in conversation with someone they know on a face name basis. To do so is considered egotistical, so instead they refer to themselves as this one, or the impersonal it. Their homeworld, Kaje, has 90% ocean cover and orbits an energetic white star, resulting in a permanent blanket of cloud. Due to the presence of Prothean ruins on the world, many Hanar worship them, and Hanar myths often speak of an elder race that civilized them by teaching them language.
Die guten Henner.
When the Asari discovered the Citadel, they also discovered the Keepers, a docile, multi-limbed insect race that seemingly exists only to maintain and repair the great Prothean station. Early attempts to communicate with or study the Keepers were failures, and it is now illegal to interfere with or impede Keeper activity. Because they are completely non-threatening, Keepers have become virtually invisible to everyone else. Similarly, they seem indifferent to other species, except for their tendency to help new arrivals integrate themselves into the Citadel. No matter how many Keepers die due to old age, violence, or accident, they maintain a constant number. No one has discovered the source of new Keepers, but some hypothesize they are genetic constructs, biological androids created somewhere deep in the inaccessible core of the Citadel itself. The Krogan evolved in a hostile and vicious environment. Until the invention of gunpowder weapons, eaten by predators was still the #1 cause of Krogan fatalities. Afterwards, it was death by gunshot. When the Solarians discovered them, the Krogan were a brutal, primitive species, struggling to survive a self-inflicted nuclear winter. The Solarians culturally uplifted them, teaching them to use and build modern technology, so they could serve as soldiers in the Rachni War. Liberated from the harsh conditions of their homeworld, the quick-breeding Krogan experienced an unprecedented population explosion. They began to colonize nearby worlds, even though these worlds were already inhabited. The Krogan rebellions lasted nearly a century, only ending when the Turians unleashed the Genophage, a Solarian-developed bioweapon that crushed all Krogan resistance. The Genophage makes only 1 in 1,000 pregnancies viable, and today the Krogan are a slowly dying breed. Understandably, the Krogan harbor a grudge against all other species, especially the Turians. Driven from their home system by the Geth nearly 3 centuries ago, most Quarians now live aboard the Migrant Fleet, a flotilla of 50,000 vessels ranging in size from passenger shuttles to mobile space stations. Home to 17 million Quarians, the flotilla understandably has scarce resources. Because of this, each Quarian must go on a rite of passage known as the Pilgrimage when they come of age. They leave the fleet and only return once they have found something of value they can bring back to their people. Other species tend to look down on the Quarians for creating the Geth and for the negative impact their fleet has when it enters a system. This has led to many myths and rumors about the Quarians, including the belief that underneath their clothes and breathing masks, they are actually cybernetic creatures, a combination of organic and synthetic parts.
Ja, das war's, wie es aussieht. Ah ne, da unten noch mehr.
Biotics is
Das
the
hatten wir
ability
schon.
of rare individuals. An artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creation of a conscious AI requires adaptive code, a slow, expensive education, and a specialized quantum computer called a blue box. An AI cannot be transmitted across a communication channel or computer network. Without its blue box, an AI is no more than data files. Loading these files into a new blue box will create a new personality, as variations in the quantum hardware and runtime results create unpredictable variations. The Geth serve as a cautionary tale against the dangers of rogue AI, and in Citadel space, they are technically illegal. Advocacy groups argue, however, that an AI is a living, conscious entity, deserving the same rights as organics. They argue that continued use of the term artificial is institutionalized racism on the part of organic life. The term synthetic is considered the politically correct alternative.
Oh je.
A virtual intelligence is an advanced form of user interface software. VIs use a variety of methods to simulate natural conversation, including an audio interface and an avatar personality to interact with. Although a VI can provide a convincing emulation of sentience, they are not self-aware, nor can they learn or take independent action. VIs are used as operating systems on commercial and home computers. Minimal VI agents are also available. Agents are compact and specialized. Some serve as personal secretaries, filtering calls and scheduling meetings based on user-defined priorities. Others are advanced search engines, propagating themselves across the extranet to collate user-requested data. Commercial VIs in a variety of stock personalities are available at any software retailer. Boutique firms and hobbyists also build unique VIs to personal specification. Although software emulation of living personalities is illegal, reconstructions of famous historical figures are common. Mass relays are feats of Prothean engineering advanced far beyond the technology of any living species. They are enormous structures scattered throughout the stars and can create corridors of virtually mass-free space, allowing instantaneous transit between locations separated by years or even centuries of travel using conventional FTL drives. Primary mass relays can propel ships thousands of light years, often from one spiral arm of the galaxy to another. However, they have fixed one-to-one connections. A primary relay connects to one other primary relay and nowhere else. Secondary relays can only propel ships across a few hundred light years. However, they are omnidirectional. A secondary relay can send a ship to any other relay within its limited range. There are many dormant primary relays whose corresponding twins have not yet been located. These are left inactive until their partner is charted, as established civilizations are unwilling to blindly open a passage that might connect them to a hostile species.
Wie die Ragnar.
Combat hard suits use a dual-layer system to protect the wearer.
Das hatten wir schon.
All
So.
modern infantry weapons, from pistols to assault rifles, use micro-scaled mass accelerator technology. Projectiles consist of tiny metal slugs suspended within a mass-reducing field, accelerated by magnetic force to speeds that inflict kinetic damage. The ammo magazine is a simple block of metal. The gun's internal computer calculates the mass needed to reach the target based on distance, gravity, and atmospheric pressure, then shears off an appropriate-sized slug from the block. A single block can supply thousands of rounds, making ammo a non-issue during any engagement. Top-line weapons also feature smart targeting that allows them to correct for weather and environment. Firing on a target in a howling gale feels the same as it does on a calm day at the practice range. Smart targeting does not mean a bullet will automatically find the mark every time the trigger is pulled. It only makes it easier for the marksman to aim.
So, dann hätten wir das.
Combat hard
Ja, ja.
suits use
Ja, ja. Haben wir schon. So, ei. Das hatten wir schon. Hatten wir das schon? Okay. Dann ist Vorlesezeit. Ach so, dann kann ich ja das hier eigentlich machen. Haha. Dann drücke ich noch einmal hier drauf. Boop. So. After the Ragnar War, the quick-breeding Krogan expanded at the expense of their neighbors. Warlords leveraged their veteran soldiers to seize living space while the console races were still grateful. Over centuries, the Krogan conquered world after world. There was always just one more needed. When the console finally demanded withdrawal from the Asari colony of Louisia, Krogan overlord Kradek stormed off the citadel, daring the council to take their worlds back. But the council had taken precautions. The finest STG operators and Asari huntresses has been drafted into a covert observation force. The Office of the Special Tactics and Reconnaissance. The Spectres opened the war with crippling strategic strikes. Krogan planets went dark as computer viruses flooded the extranet. Sabotaged antimatter refineries disappeared in blue-white annihilation. Headquarters station shattered into orbit-clogging debris, rammed by pre-placed suicide freighters. Still, this only delayed the unvermeidliche. The war would have been lost if not for the first contact with the Turians, who responded to Krogan threats with a prompt declaration of war. Being on the far side of the Krogan space from the Council, the Turians advanced rapidly into the lightly defended Krogan rear areas. The Krogan responded by dropping space stations and asteroids on Turian colonies. 3 worlds were rendered completely uninhabitable. This was precisely the wrong approach to take with the Turians. Each is first and foremost a public servant, willing to risk his life to protect his comrades. Rather than increasing public war weariness, Krogan tactics stiffened Turian resolve. The arrival of the Turian task force saved many worlds from the warlords' marauding fleets, but it took development of the genophage bioweapon to end the war. There were decades of unrest afterwards. Rogue warlords and holdout groups of insurgents refused to surrender or disappeared into the frontier systems to become pirates. Quarians. When Quarians of the migrant fleet reach young adulthood, they must leave the birth ship and find a new crew to accept them as permanent residents. To prove themselves, they must recover something of value. This is offered to their prospective captain as proof that they will not be a mere burden on the shoestring resources of the ship. This process is called the pilgrimage. Striped of ritual, the pilgrimage is merely an attempt to maintain genetic diversity within the small, relatively isolated population bases that make up the migrant fleet. If the young stayed and married within their birth vessel, the risk of inbreeding would increase sharply. Quarians are surgically fitted with the various immunity-boosting implants in preparation for leaving on pilgrimage. Having grown up with the sterile, controlled environments of the migrant fleet ships, Quarians have virtually no natural immune system. Oh, fuck my life. Gut. Citadel conventions. These diplomatic talks occurred in the wake of the Krogan rebellions, as response to the destruction of the conflict in an attempt to distance the Council from the brutal Krogan warfare. The conventions regulate the use of weapons of mass destruction. VMD causes environmental alteration to a world. A bomb that produces a large crater is not considered a VMD. A bomb that causes a nuclear winter is. A use of VMD is forbidden on garden worlds like Earth, with ecospheres that can readily support a population. If a habitable world is destroyed, it will not be replaced for millions of years. The convention do not forbid the use of VMD on hostile worlds or in sealed space station environments. Many militaries continue to develop and maintain stockpiles. The convention graded weapons of mass destruction in tiers of concern. Tier 1 is the greatest threat to galactic peace. Tier 1. Large kinetic impactors such as asteroid drops or deorbiting space stations. Effectively free and available in any system in the form of debris left over from planetary accretion, keine Ahnung, accretion? Kinetic impactors are the weapon of choice for terrorists in third galaxy nations. Tier 2. Uncontrolled, self-replicating weapons such as nanotechnology, viral or bacteriological organisms von Neumann devices and destructive computer viruses. These weapons can lie dormant for millennia, waiting for careless visitors to carry them to another world. 3. Tier 3. Large energy burst weapons, such as nuclear or antimatter warheads. Tier 4. Alien species deliberately introduced to crowd out native forms of forms necessary for the health of an ecosystem. Ecological tampering can take years to bear fruit, making it difficult to prove. Citadel Station Citadel Security Services, CSEC. Citadel Security is a volunteer police service answering to the Citadel Council. The 200,000 constables of CSEC are responsible for maintaining public order in the densely populated Citadel. They also provide pirate suppression, customs enforcement, and search and rescue throughout the Citadel cluster. CSEC has 6 divisions. Enforcement. Uniformed officers who patrol the Citadel and respond to emergencies. Investigation. Detectives who puzzle out the truth behind crimes and bring perpetrators to justice. Customs screens the thousands of passengers and cargo containers that pass through the Citadel's ports every day. Network deals with cyber crimes like identity and copyright theft, hacking and viral attacks, and illegal artificial intelligence, special response, deals with hostage situations, bombs, and heavy armed criminals. In the unlikely event that attackers board the citadel, they are also the front line of defense, armed with military-grade equipment. Patrol, naval arm, with ships stationed throughout the Citadel cluster. Unlike the other divisions, they are rarely seen at the Citadel, nor do they stay in one place long. Joining CSEC is prestigious. Applications must be sponsored by a Citadel consular or ambassador of an associate council race. Generally, applicants have many years of distinguished service in the military or police forces of the nation, but an inexperienced applicant with demonstrable talent will be fairly considered. Meine Fresse! Was ist mit meinem Englisch los? CSECs and the Spectres are often at odds. Many CSEC members, notably current executioner Venari Pellin, believes that allowing Spectres to be above the law is a dangerous practice. The actions of Saren Arturius led credence to this position. The Spectres in turn are aggravated when CSEC dedication to produce and procedure and due process hampers the investigations. Meine Fresse. Citadel Station, Presidium Ring. The ring is an enclosed loop of park-like space serving as the connection point for the wards. The interior wards aligned with embassies of the influential species and private residences of the galaxy's elite. The Presidium is full of open-air restaurants, bars and luxurious meeting areas. Gravity is about 1/3 of Earth normal. A holographic sky is projected over the ceiling of the ring. Unlike the 24/7 bustle of the wards, the Presidium maintains a 20-hour day schedule with a 6-hour night where the lights are dimmed and the sky goes through a night cycle. Offices and residences are often open to the interior. It is not unusual for embassies to have no exterior wall at all. This does not cause a crime problem due to the heavy CSEC present and ubiquitous monitoring devices on the Presidium. Ich kann das Wort keine Ahnung. Thieves are quickly identified and apprehended. The ring is the location of the Citadel's spaceports. Being closer to the center of the spin, there is less motion for the ship to match, and the reduced spin gravity makes handling cargo easier. Hundreds of ships pass through the Citadel every day, and every species with an embassy is granted a private dock. The tower at the center of the ring holds the administration of the Citadel Council. The tower rises over a kilometer from the ring, appearing to thrust forward parallel to the ward arms. As the tower is at the center of the spin axis, it experiences little centrifugal force. Gravity is maintained using mass effect fields at a 90-degree angle to the ring and wards. A consular dock can be found at the base of the tower. While normally used to diplomatic couriers and spectre businesses, the shuttles docked here can evacuate the council government in an emergency attempt. Citadel Station, Serpent Nebula. The Citadel is surrounded by a blue-tinted reflection nebula. The light of the nebula is actually light from the Citadel, scattered and reflected back at the station. At first, the Serpent Nebula was assumed to be made of microscopic construction debris. Prevailing theory holds that the Protheans used molecular nanotechnology to manufacture the incredibly durable materials used in the Citadel. But unlike other nebula, the Serpent does not dissipate over time. Therefore, it must be replenished constantly. The current popular theory is that the non-recyclable waste collected by the Citadel keepers is somewhat rendered down to the atomic or molecular level and ejected into the cloud. The thick nebula presents a navigation hazard. Beyond the relatively clear areas around the Citadel, electrical discharges are common. These are not blocked by kinetic barriers and can severely damage metal-framed starships. In addition, some Dense knots of dust can overwhelm the repulsion of kinetic barriers on smaller ships if such a vessel is moving fast enough at the time. The effects are similar to being hit by a sandblaster. Attempting to reach the citadel through open space navigation is unadvisable. The only safe approach is through the various Mars spheres that orbit it. Citadel Station, wards. Oh, Gottes Willen. The majority of the citadel's population lives in the wards, the 5 massive arms of the station that houses the residential and commercial districts. Many galactic races have established cultural enclaves here. Population density and cost of living are extremely high, akin to Earth cities such as Hong Kong and Singapore. The wards are open-topped, with skyscrapers rising from the superstructure. Towers are sealed against vacuum, and the breathable atmosphere envelopes is only maintained to a height of about 7 meters. The atmosphere is contained by the centrifugal force of rotation and a membrane of dense, colorless sulfur hexafluoride gas, held in place by carefully managed mass effect fields. The view from the wards is spectacular. In the background, stars, Serpent Nebula, and the nearby blue giant called the Widow move across the sky as the station rotates to stabilize itself. In the foreground, the lights of the buildings and vehicles on the opposite ward arms perpetually shine. The citadel has no real day or night. While the station keeps to standard galactic time for political functions, businesses rarely close, and residents acclimate to sleep and work according to personal need rather than day-night cycle. Additions and modifications are constantly being constructed, though they must stay within certain specifications that will not compromise the operation of the station. Occasionally, the keepers will descend on an area of the wards and move or change the architecture without explanations. Residents have learned to live with these inexplicable intrusions. Treaty of Farixen. Due to the destructive potential of dreadnoughts, the Council races agreed at the Farixen Naval Conference to fix a ratio of dreadnought construction between themselves. At the top of the pyramid is the peacekeeping Turian fleet. Below the Turians are the other Council races, currently the Asari and Salarians. Council associate races are not at the bottom. The Human System Alliance is part of this last group. The ratio of Turian to Council to Associate dreadnoughts is 5 to 3 to 1. For every dreadnought humans are permitted to build, the Asaris have 3, the Turians 5. Dreadnoughts sind einfach sehr, 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 sehr große Raumschiffe. Ships and Vehicles. Achso, da kommt's auch gleich. Meine Fresse. Meine Güte, so eine halbe Stunde durch, nur am Lesen. Starship, Cruisers. Cruiserweight starships are the standard combat unit encountered away from large naval bases, the poor bloody infantry of most fleets. Nimble scouting frigates have neither the punch nor the stamina to stand up to serious combat, and their mighty dreadnoughts are strategic resources, carefully hoarded and committed to the most critical battles. Cruisers perform routine independent show-the-flag patrols in settled systems and lead flotillas of frigates in small engagements, such as pirate suppression campaigns. In major fleet engagements, cruiser squadrons support the dreadnought battle line by screening their flanks against enemies attempting to maneuver for a main gun bowshot from their vulnerable broadsides. Alliance crusaders are named after cities on Earth. Starship Dreadnoughts. The Dreadnought is the ultimate arbiter of space warfare. Millions of tons of metal, ceramic, and polymer dedicated to the projection of firepower against an enemy vessel of like ability. No sane commander would face a dreadnought with anything less than another dreadnought. A dreadnought's power lies in the length of its main gun. Dreadnoughts range from 800 meters to 1 kilometer long. With the main gun of commensurate length, an 800-meter mass accelerator is capable of accelerating 1 2 kilogram slug to a velocity of 280 83 kilometers per second every 2 seconds. Each slug has a kinetic energy of 38 kilotons of TNT, 3 times the energy released by the fission weapon that destroyed Hiroshima. When used to bombard planets, some of this kinetic energy is lost to atmospheric re-entry friction. As a rule of thumb, each Earth atmosphere of air pressure saps approximately 20% of a projectile's impact energy. The Turian fleet presently has 37 dreadnoughts, the Asari 21 and the Salarian 16. Humanity has 6, with an additional hull under construction at Arcturus Station. Alliance battleships are named for mountains of Earth: Everest class, Everest, Fuji, Elbrus. Kilimanjaro class: Kilimanjaro, Taishan, Shasta, Aconcagua. Starship Fighters. Fighters are single-pilot combat small craft. They are lightweight enough that they can be economically fitted with powerful Element Zero cores, making them capable of greater acceleration and sharper maneuvers than starships. Kinetic barriers shields change starship battles from short, vicious bloodbaths to extended, indecisive slugging matches. Only the main gun of a dreadnought could punch a mass accelerator slug through the barriers of an opposing dreadnought. This changed with the development of the fighter-launched mass disruptor torpedo, a short-range weapon that can penetrate kinetic barriers to destroy their projector assemblies. Starship Guardian defenses must be overwhelmed through swarm tactics. Fighter groups can take heavy casualties pressing their torpedo attacks home. Once fighter-launched torpedoes have crippled an enemy's barriers, the mass accelerators of frigates and cruisers can make short work of them. Interceptors are a type of fighters optimized to attack other fighters, with no ability to damage starships. Interceptors are used to screen friendly units from incoming fighter attacks. Starships! Frigates. Frigates are light escort and scouting vessels. They often have extensive Guardian systems to provide anti-fighter screening for capital ships and carry a squad of marines for security and ground-side duty. Unlike larger vessels, frigates are able to land on planets. Frigates' drive systems allow them to achieve FTL cruise speeds. They also have proportionally large thrusters and lighter design mass, allowing them to maneuver more handily. In combat, speed and maneuverability make a frigate immune to the long-range fire of larger vessels. In the time it takes projectiles to reach them, frigates are no longer where they were predicted to be. In the fleet combat, frigates are organized into wolf-pack flotillas of 4 to 6. Wolf-packs speed through enemy formations, hunting enemy vessels whose kinetic barriers have been taken down by fighter-launched disruptor torpedoes. The wolf-packs circle strafe vulnerable targets, using their superior speed and maneuverability to evade return fire. Alliance frigates are named for great battles in human history. Technology. Biotic, das hatten wir schon. Communications, Administration. While convoys allow rapid transmissions, there are a finite amount of bandwidth available. Given that trillions of people may be trying to pass a message through a given buoy at any one time, access to the network is parceled out on priority tiers. The Citadel Council and the Spectres have absolute priority. If they are using all the bandwidth, everyone else must wait. Individual governments and their militaries enjoy the next highest tier. During wartime, civilian communication can suffer hours or even days of lag. Intelligence agencies study ping time through various systems to predict military build-ups. Below the government and militaries, bandwidth priority is sold to the highest bidder. Media conglomerates, particularly headline news networks, purchase higher priority to provide their viewers with timely information. Corporations that require timely information and response capabilities, for example financial institution investment firms also invest heavily in priority access. The funds acquired through sales of bandwidth are used to maintain and expand the communications infrastructure. While everyone with a computer has guaranteed free and unlimited access to the galactic extranet, they are last in line for bandwidth and many have to wait for their request to be processed. Bandwidth Resale Corporation used investment capital to purchase block of high priority access made available by paid subscription. Credits. Creds. The standard credit was established by the Citadel's Unified Banking Act as the currency of interstellar trade. The credit has managed floating exchange rate, calculating in real time by the central bank to maintain the average value of all participating currencies. Some regional currencies are worth more than a credit, and some less. Hard currency can be stolen or counterfeited. Ja, ich weiß, was das heißt. Falschgeld. So, electronic fund transfers are the norm. More importantly, physical transactions cannot be easily tracked, making them ideal for tax evasion or the purchase of illegal goods. When the Alliance joined the Citadel, its various national treasuries were linked into the credit network. A human with a bank account of Mexican pesos, Japanese yen or Indian rupees can purchase any item priced in credit at a fair market value. All economics that participate in the credit network are required to price items in both local currency and credits. Ah, so, Geschichtsstunde vorbei. Wuhu! Ja, wir wollen nicht rumschießen. Eieiei. So, also, wir haben glaube ich gerade keine Quests hier, ne? Nein, okay. So, da wir jetzt in Spectre gehe ich mal zu diesem C-Sec-Oberhaupt. Mal gucken, ob er irgendwas zu sagen hat. Oh, hoppala. Da finde ich halt auch meine Waffe ziehen.
So they finally did it.
Oh,
I
der
knew
sagt
one
sowas
of your
sein.
kind would make Spectre one day. I only hope you're better than the one they're sending you after.
I'll do everything I can to stop Saren.
That's what worries me. Was there something you wanted?
What do you know about the Spectres?
They're the right hand of the
Okay,
council,
das
or
hat er
sort
schon.
of more like the underhanded side of the council.
I'll be going now.
Goodbye, Commander.
Aber immerhin hat was Neues zu sagen. Cool, cool. Für so ein altes Spiel. Warte mal, redet die jetzt mit uns, weil wir ein Spectre sind?
I don't have time to talk now. I'm very busy.
Hello, Commander. Can I get you something?
Oh, warum nicht?
What have you got?
Information, mostly.
Ah,
Would you like to know about some points of interest nearby?
Achso, okay.
Goodbye.
So long, Commander. Have a pleasant day.
Dann gehen wir mal zum Ambassador, weil der sagt uns ja, was wir jetzt machen sollen. Oh. Ich habe da links von mir gerade einen Keeper gehört. Ist der letzte, der uns fehlt, hier? Ah. Oh, wow. Achso, oh cool. Mm, 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 mm. Achso, wir haben ja noch unsere Brudis. Hm. Mm, 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 mm. Achso, scheiße, ich sollte ja durchstehen. Ich mach mal die hier auf Decryption. Dann nehmen wir einfach Tali immer mit. So. Habe ich jetzt einfach schon entschieden. Dann haben wir kein Problem mehr damit. So. Falsche Taste. Das ist die Taste, die ich gerade gedrückt habe, ist die Taste bei vielen anderen Spielen zum Sprinten. Was? Sollten wir nicht hier hin? Oh, allein Stocking. Oh. Ja, geil. Der Super Spectre, der keine 2 Sekunden laufen kann. Oh nein. Wo sind die Docs? Ah. Ging es hier zu den Docs oder zum Präsidium? Oh, fuck my life. Das ist die Docs. Yes.
Coming up in a report later today, Emily Wong investigates corruption on the Citadel and uncovers a full-blown crime syndicate.
Ey, denen haben wir geholfen. Was macht denn der? Hallo ihr zwei.
I've got big news for you, Shepard. Captain Anderson is stepping down as commanding officer of the Normandy. The ship is yours now.
She's quick and quiet, and you know the crew. Perfect ship for a Spectre. Treat her well, Commander.
Natürlich. Die
I'll take good
Normandy
care of her, sir.
I know
wird
you
uns
will,
lange
Commander.
begleiten.
I want
Oh.
the truth. Why are you stepping down, sir?
You needed your own ship. A Spectre can't answer to anyone but the Council. And it's time for me to step down.
Ja, das
Come
stimmt auch
clean with
nicht.
me, Captain. You owe me that much.
I was in your shoes 20 years ago, Shepard. They were considering me for the Spectres.
Mhm. Was denn
What
passiert?
happened?
I failed. I couldn't make the cut. It's not something I'm proud of. Ask me later and I'll tell you the whole story. For now, all you need to know is, I was sent on a mission with Saren, and he made sure the Council rejected me. I had my shot. It came and went. Now you have a chance to make up for my mistakes.
Ich werde
I
mein
won't
Bestes
let you
tun.
down, sir.
Saren's gone. Don't even try to find him. But we know what he's after. The conduit. He's got his Geth scouring the Traverse looking for clues.
We had reports of Geth in the Pharos system shortly before our colony there dropped out of contact, and there have been sightings around Noveria.
Find out what Saren was after on Pharos and Noveria. Maybe you can figure out where the conduit is before he does.
Aber was
The
ist mit den
Reapers are
Reapers?
the real threat.
I'm with the Council on this one, Shepard. I'm not sure they even exist.
But if they do exist, the conduit's the key to bringing them back. Stop Saren from getting the conduit, and we stop the Reapers from returning.
I'll stop him.
Yes.
We have one more lead. Matriarch Benezia, the other voice on that recording. She has a daughter, a scientist who specializes in the Protheans. We don't know if she's involved, but it might be a good idea to try and find her. See what she knows. Her name's Liara, Dr. Liara Tassoni. We have reports she was exploring an archaeological dig on one of the uncharted worlds in the Artemis Tau cluster.
Ja, dann gehen
Sounds
wir
like
doch mal
we should
da.
head for the Artemis Tau cluster.
It's your decision, Commander. You're a Spectre now. You don't answer to us.
But your actions still reflect on humanity as a whole. You make a mess and I get stuck cleaning it up.
That's your job. Naja, komm, ich will
I'll try not to
aufpassen.
make things any harder on you, Ambassador.
Glad to hear it, Commander. Remember, you were a human long before you were a Spectre. I have a meeting to get to. Captain Anderson can answer any questions you might have.
Na tschö.
Yes, Commander?
Oh. Bist du
How are you
okay?
holding up?
Honestly, this isn't how I pictured my career coming to an end. Pushing papers really isn't my thing, but you're the one who can stop Saren. I believe in you, Shepard. If that means I have to step aside, so be it.
Tell me what happened with you and Saren 20 years ago.
It's close to 20 years ago now. Ambassador Goyle was our representative here on the Citadel. Like Udina, she wanted to get a human into the Spectres. She chose me. The Council sent Saren to keep an eye on me and evaluate my performance, just like they sent Nihilus to keep tabs on you.
Ja, was
I
passiert?
think I deserve the whole story.
We had intel on a rogue scientist being funded by Batarian interests. He was trying to set up a facility to develop illegal AI technology out in the Verge. Alliance intel had done all the work, but the Council wanted a Spectre involved. We compromised. I was assigned to help Saren in his investigation. We tracked the scientist to a refining facility on Kamala. He was hidden away somewhere inside, protected by an army of Batarian mercenaries. The plan was simple. Sneak into the plant, capture the scientist, sneak back out. Quick, quiet, and a minimum of bloodshed.
Tja, aber
I'm guessing things didn't go as planned.
wollte gerade sagen.
Saren and I split up to cover more ground. Then about halfway through the mission, there was a massive explosion in the refinery core. Officially, it was ruled an accident, but I think Saren detonated it on purpose to draw off the enemy guards.
How many casualties?
The explosion tore the refinery to shreds. The whole place was on fire. Black chemical clouds poured out into the atmosphere. Nobody inside survived. There was a camp for the workers and their families nearby. Between the fires and the toxic fumes, the final death count was over 500. Mostly civilians. Saren didn't care. The target was eliminated, mission accomplished. And I ended up taking the blame. That ended all talk of me joining the Spectres.
Saren caused the explosion. How'd he pin it on you?
In his report, Saren accused me of blowing his cover. He said it was my fault the guards were ready for us. He claimed that's why it turned into a massacre. Saren's report was all the proof the Council needed to kill my chances of becoming a Spectre.
Don't blame yourself, Captain.
I don't. I blame Saren. I think he wanted things to go bad. He was looking for an excuse to blow that refinery. Maybe he just likes the violence. Maybe he was just trying to make me look bad to keep humans out of the Spectres. If so, he pulled it off.
That's not
Why'd you
fair!
let him get away with it?
Who do you
Best
think the
Spectre.
Council was going to listen to? Me? Or their best agent? I had a bad feeling about him right from the start. I should have been more careful. Maybe I could have stopped things before they got out of hand.
Ja, nee, so muss man das
Don't
nicht
blame
gleich
yourself, Captain.
I don't. I blame
Ach so.
Saren. Maybe he just likes
Oh.
the violence.
Ach so, hoppala.
Maybe he was just trying to make me look bad to keep humans out of the Spectres. If so, he pulled it off.
Why'd you let him get away with it?
Hä?
Who
Das
do you
dreht
think the
sich.
Council... I had a bad feeling
Oh.
about him right from the start. I should have been
Komisch.
more careful. Maybe I could have stopped things before they got out of hand.
The only thing I care about is stopping Saren.
You're right, Commander. It's no good living in the past.
Any extra intel you can give me on our colony at Pharos?
The entire planet used to be one giant Prothean city. Mostly ruins now. But some of the infrastructure is still intact. The colony tried to build on what the Protheans left behind. We lost all contact with them when the Geth attacked.
What do you know about the Artemis Tau cluster?
Not much. I've never been there myself. A handful of systems with a few small, uncharted worlds, but no real colonies. Might not be easy finding Dr. Tassoni out there. My advice is to look for the world with the Prothean ruins.
Hahaha.
What can you tell me about Novaria?
Novaria's trouble. Always has been. The whole planet's basically a center for corporations to conduct illegal research. Watch your back there, Shepard. Spectres are about the only form of Citadel authority Novaria respects. But they aren't popular.
Okay,
I
cool.
should go.
I'll be here if you need anything.
Ja, klar, bleib ganz halt an den Dock stehen. Hast ja, wenn du sonst nichts zu tun hast.
Stand by, shore party. Decontamination in progress.
I heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Captain Anderson should be the one in charge. It's like I'm stealing the ship from him.
Yeah, the captain got screwed. But it's not like you could have stopped it. Nobody's blaming you. Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, Now's the time.
Ja, ehrlich sein.
This is Commander Shepard speaking. We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
Ja,
For too
ja.
long, our species has stood apart from the others. Now it's time for us to step up and do our part for the rest of the galaxy. Time to show them what humans are made of.
Wir dürfen nicht versagen.
This is the most important mission any of us have ever been on. The fate of an entire galaxy is at stake. We will stop Saren, no matter what the cost.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
He doesn't matter anymore. Not if you fail. Na komm, wir
The
schauen
captain
das.
gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, sir.
Plopp. Achso, ja, geht weg wieder zurück. Hallo, Joker.
Commander, something you need?
Ship.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Das hört sich an wie ein Zitat von einer Frau.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet.
Jo.
Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
Huh? But
What are you talking about? Are you sick?
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
You're dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking... Spend all that time around Alliance ships,
Alles
there's a
klar.
good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
I have to go.
I have
See
to
ya.
go. Ja, manche Sachen hätten die besser schreiben können. Oh. Was war das? Was? Ich hab da gerade gesehen. Examen. Oh. Ach da.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
Jo.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, sir, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Jo, der wurde erschossen.
I'm in charge here, Presley. I decide if we have non-humans on this vessel.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Okay.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Renegade. Oh. Achso, ja, stimmt. Genau, salutiert. Ich bin der Chef, bin ich. Der komisch läuft. Oh. Oh, was ist denn hier hinten? Oh, nix.
Yes, Commander?
Yes,
Is there something
Commander?
you need?
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of
Achso, das hatten wir schon.
But humanity needs the Alliance if we want...
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Das heißt, wir müssen wohl mit Caden und Dingsbums nicht reden. Oder? Sagen die es was anderes? Ah doch, die sagen was anderes.
Anything
Was war das denn?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
Huh?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
Achso, okay.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Dann müssen wir... Oh. Achso, da können wir uns noch umziehen. Ach, ist das jetzt mein Quartier jetzt? Genau. Haha. Ja. Ach so, stimmt. Ja. Ah. Oh. Oh. Hey, da geht's ja noch weiter.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
How often will you get new items?
Well, that depends on how many licenses you've purchased, but I'll rotate items on a regular basis regardless. And anytime we land someplace with a big enough port, I'll buy, sell, and trade whatever I can. Check back often. I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic items will be stocked consistently.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Okay. Zu teuer alles. Was haben wir denn eigentlich alles? Da können wir ja die... wie kann ich denn... Bisher. Achso. Oh Gott, ist das schlecht. Oh Gott, was ist das für ein Kackmenü, daran erinnere ich mich nicht. Ei. Oh.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for talent,
Klar.
Commander.
Wusste
But I'm
ich.
guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed, and she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, Commander.
Das haben wir ein cooles Schiff.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
Ne, ich glaube,
Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
Are you into ships?
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials.
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. A million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So, the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in the group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
You can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began.
Wie
The
wär's mit den
hope was
Leuten
that
weg?
most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile, searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
Ja, ihr hättet doch einfach denen sagen können, ey, geht doch woanders hin. Wir wollten euch nicht versklaven.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when the gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
Reingehauen.
See you later.
Meine Güte, wie lange reden wir schon? 1 Stunde 15. Dann quatschen wir noch eben die Leute hier durch. Das sind noch 3. Ja.
Thanks for bringing me on board,
Nee, 2.
Commander. I knew
3.
working with a Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it.
But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this.
And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
As long as you do your job well, you're free to go about your business as you see fit.
Thank you, Commander.
Okay, cool. Okay, reden wir erstmal mit der da.
Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got the... No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
Achso,
wish
okay.
we'd been able to save
Scheiße,
the rest
doch.
of your unit.
Ah, Mist.
Yes, sir. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
Sir, they have flashlight heads. I'll make sure it doesn't happen.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duty squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sir.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogan live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
It's unfortunate.
They tried the same with us, but we fought them off.
It's not the same.
Nicht?
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
Nicht ganz.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to upset you.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Oh, schade, dass ihr doof seid, aber tüdelü. Ja. Oh Gott, dauert die Fahrt jetzt jedes Mal mit dem Aufzug so lange? Oh. Hat das Spiel wirklich damals so lange gebraucht, um den Rest des Schiffes zu laden? Das kann ich mir fast nicht vorstellen. Oh Gottes Willen, das ist ja... Oh boy. Oh. 3 Bilder. Gut, vielleicht passiert ja mal also eigentlich ist eine ganze Menge passiert. Wir haben viel über das Universum gelernt und über unsere Kompagnons. Ja, damit beende ich die Folge und ich wünsche dir einen schönen guten Morgen, einen schönen guten Tag oder einen schönen guten Abend, abhängig davon, wann du das anguckst, Lorraine. Tüdelü.